स्क्लेरोडर्मा। स्क्लेरोडर्मा एक ग्रीक शब्द है जो कि स्क्लेरो ਅਤੇ ਡਰਮਾ ਦੋ ਸ਼ਬਦਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਬਣਿਆ ਹੈ, ਜਿਸ ਦਾ ਅਰਥ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਸਖਤ ਚਮੜੀ। ਅਸਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਆਟੋਇਮਿਊਨ ਡਿਸੀਜ਼ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਹੈ, ਜਿਸ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਰੀਰ ਦਾ ਇਮਿਊਨ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਸਰੀਰ ਦੇ ਹੀ ਵਿਰੁੱਧ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਸਾਡੀ ਚਮੜੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਬਲੱਡ ਸੈਲਸ ਅਤੇ ਅੰਦਰੂਨੀ ਅੰਗਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਪ੍ਰਭਾਵਿਤ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਦੀ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਪਛਾਣ ਇਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਸਿਹਤਮੰਦ ਟਿਸ਼ੂਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਪ੍ਰਭਾਵਿਤ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਦੀ ਚਮੜੀ ਸਖਤ ਹੋਣਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਣ ਲੱਗ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਬਿਮਾਰੀ ਮਰਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਮੁਕਾਬਲੇ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ 3 ਤੋਂ 4% ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਪਾਈ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਇਸ ਬਿਮਾਰੀ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਸਥਾਈ ਇਲਾਜ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਯਾਨੀ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਲਾਇਲਾਜ ਬਿਮਾਰੀ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਲਈ ਪੀਜੀਆਈਮਰ ਦੇ ਡਿਪਾਰਟਮੈਂਟ ਆਫ ਇੰਟਰਨਲ ਮੈਡੀਸਿਨ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਬਿਮਾਰੀ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਾਗਰੂਕਤਾ ਫੈਲਾਉਣ ਅਤੇ ਪੀਜੀਆਈਮਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਪਲਬਧ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਲੱਛਣਾਂ, ਰੋਕਥਾਮ ਅਤੇ ਐਕਸਪਰਟਸ ਦੀ ਸਲਾਹ ਅਤੇ ਇਲਾਜ ਬਾਰੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਣੂ ਕਰਵਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਇੱਕ ਨਵੀਂ ਪਹਿਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਸੰਬੰਧੀ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਦਿੰਦਿਆਂ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਸ਼ੈਫਾਲੀ ਸ਼ਰਮਾ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਜਾਗਰੂਕਤਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਤਹਿਤ ਪੀਜੀਆਈਮਰ ਦੁਆਰਾ ਇੱਕ ਵੈਬਸਾਈਟ ਵੀ ਸਕਲੈਰੋਡਰਮਾ ਅਵੇਅਰਨੈਸ ਤੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਜੋ ਕਿ ਹਰ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਪ੍ਰਦਾਨ ਕਰਵਾਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਬੈਂਗਲੁਰੂ ਤੋਂ ਆਏ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਚੰਦਰਸ਼ੇਖਰ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਬਿਮਾਰੀ ਬਾਰੇ ਦੱਸਦਿਆਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਬਿਮਾਰੀ ਉਮਰ ਭਰ ਯਾਨੀ ਕਿ ਲਾਈਫ ਲੌਂਗ ਹੋਣ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਇਸ ਦਾ ਇਲਾਜ ਕਾਫੀ ਮਹਿੰਗਾ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਬਿਮਾਰੀ ਨੂੰ ਬੀਮਾ ਕੰਪਨੀਆਂ ਦੁਆਰਾ ਵੀ ਕਵਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ। ਅਸੀਂ ਸਸਤੇ ਅਤੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਇਲਾਜ ਲਈ ਖੋਜ ਜਾਰੀ ਰੱਖਣ ਲਈ ਪੂਰੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਜਿਸ ਤੇ ਕਿ ਪੀਜੀਆਈ ਵੀ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। आओ देखते हैं इस चर्चा बारे ये विस्तारित रिपोर्ट।
ट्रीटमेंट ऑप्शंस भी काफ़ी हैं आपके पास, तो ऐसा नहीं है कि पहले तो ट्रीटमेंट ऑप्शन बहुत लिमिटेड थे। नाम ने स्टार्ट किया, दिस इज द बिगेस्ट सेंटर इन इंडिया फॉर सच पेशेंट ग्रुप्स। आपको लगता है जो भी चीज़ें हैं आप बात कर सकते हैं, लेकिन आप लोगों से एक ही रिक्वेस्ट है, हम इस प्लेटफॉर्म को कैसे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों के पास लेके जा पाएँ, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट की एक लिमिटेशन होती है। बीइंग इन अ गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूट वी को नॉट एबल टू डू।
Used in patients with post-transplant patients, other autoimmune conditions, and we compared it with mycophenolate. Again, what we have noticed here is that we found encouraging results with the use of even this drug. This is not well described in literature as of now. Nobody has really used this tacrolimus for systemic sclerosis, but we have observed encouraging results in patients with IIT lung problems.
Program which is going on from last 5-8 years. I think I will try to interject Hindi in between as requested by Sipali. I think you are aware that I am from Bangalore. My knowledge on Hindi is not as good or as great as you can expect. You excuse us for small grammatical mistakes here and there, and we are always confused about E and R. That is, where to use E, where to use R. So you can excuse those ideas, but otherwise I hope I should be relevantly put their things across to you. मैंने नेक्स्ट 20-30 मिनट में स्क्लेरोडर्मा के बारे में ज़्यादा नहीं बात करता हूँ, क्योंकि आपको स्लाइड्स में दिखाया गया है कि स्क्लेरोडर्मा क्या है, क्यों होता है, कैसा होता है। But there are few things कि जब भी कोई लॉन्ग स्टैंडिंग बीमारी आती है, स्क्लेरोडर्मा हो गया, SLE हो गया, रूमेटॉइड आर्थराइटिस हो, इवन एज सिंपल प्रॉब्लम लाइक डायबिटीज हो या हाइपरटेंशन हो, or even the worst problem like a long running cancer treatments भी हो, we need to work with it. We call it as living with that disease. उसको हम, इसीलिए तो मेरा title is comes as living with scleroderma or any disease. So fundamental is we don't like any problems, क्योंकि हम चाहते हैं कि कोई प्रॉब्लम हमको ना हो, पर ये नहीं कि प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगा, because problem loves us also. So problem will come to us. आज नहीं तो कल, कभी तो भी आ ही जाएगा. So problems are going to come. So I always say that problems do not spare us. We need to work with the problems. So I think it's clear, scleroderma is an autoimmune disease, and it affects, as I said, in skin, joints, lungs, heart, blood vessels, and it makes these portions stiff. As a consequence, it becomes stiff. वो stiff हो जाती है, इसलिए तो हर एक अंग का काम मुश्किल में पड़ जाती है. If it is lungs, lungs don't expand. If it is skin, skin का movements कम हो जाता है. If it is in the joints, joints get restricted. अगर if it is in the vessels, उसका expansions बंद होती है, इसलिए तो pressure बढ़ते जाएगी. So what really happens is उनका functions impair होते जाएंगे. जैसा उनके फंक्शन इम्पेयर होते आएगी, हमारा ओवरऑल फंक्शन एज एन इंडिविजुअल फंक्शंस ऑफ डे टू डे लाइफ इम्पेयर होते जाएंगे. वो कैसे? फॉर एग्जांपल, लंग अफेक्ट हुआ, चलना फिरना मुश्किल हो जाएगी, ब्रेथलेस हो जाएंगे, हार्ट की प्रेशर या पल्मोनरी प्रेशर बढ़ जाएगी, तो हार्ट पंपिंग के लिए एक्स्ट्रा काम करेगी, देन चेस्ट पेन आएगी. यू कांट वॉक द स्पीड इन विच यू कैन वॉक. अगर स्किन स्टिफ हो गई तो यू कांट फोल्ड द स्किन द वे यू कुड हैव फोल्डेड द हैंड्स एंड दोस थिंग्स. ये क्या होता है, तो हर दिन की हर एक काम के लिए इंटरफेरेंस होना शुरू होगा. पेन तो अलग ही बात है, पेन के साथ में इट इज आल्सो इंटरफियर्स इन योर डे टू डे फंक्शंस. तो इसीलिए क्या होता है, तो क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ में इंपेयरमेंट आना शुरू होगा, क्योंकि हम चाहते हैं कि बाहर जाए, लेग्स में पेन होगा. When all others are running with the speed to see things, आपको लगता है कि मेरा मूंछी I am breathing too much. It's difficult to breathe. आप उनके साथ पेश कर नहीं पा रहा हूँ. लगता है कि ये क्या हो रहा है, क्यों हो रहा है. So overall क्या होता है, the quality of life कम हो जाए. We all know most of us are built with few amino acids or few proteins. Amino acids मतलब वो प्रोटीन का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, उस स्ट्रक्चर के ऊपर हम सारे बिल्ड हैं. वो बैक्टीरिया हो या वायरस हो या हम हो या ह्यूमन बीइंग हो, we are all built on small protein complexes. इसमें ये प्रोटीन का जो कॉम्प्लेक्स है, काफी सारे सिमिलर होने की चांसेस रहती है. So that is where the trouble is. Immune system when it is protecting you has to find out कि ये बाहर का है या हमारा है, सेल्फ एंड नॉन सेल्फ. ये आइडेंटिफिकेशन करने के लिए, सेल्फ एंड नॉन सेल्फ के लिए, it has built in a very complex system. वो सिस्टम इतना कॉम्प्लेक्स है, उसको पढ़ने में काफी साल लग जाएगी. And even many of the MBBS students, when we are taking immunology class, they disappear क्योंकि इतना complex है, हम सुनने के लिए तैयार नहीं है. So that's the complexity in which the immune system has developed. I can also tell you we have only learned 30 to 40% of the immune complexity which has evolved over a period of time. इतना complex system develop हुआ है, पर फिर भी it is trying to figure out between self, non-self and non-self. इतना कभी-कभी similarity रहता है, तो self के जगह non-self को represent करके it starts attacking those proteins which are yourself. So वहीं से autoimmune disease का बीमारी शुरू होती है. Immune system has one process which is called as affinity maturation and maturation of antigen protein. As the time advances, immune system becomes more and more robust. आजकल कोविड के जमाने में many of you might have heard second vaccine is required, booster vaccine is required. हम ये क्यों सेकंड वैक्सीन और बूस्टर वैक्सीन की बात करते थे? When I give a second time a vaccine, immune response become more robust. When I give a booster vaccine, the immune response becomes still more robust. Even एक immune system जो हमारे ऊपर ही हमला कर रही है, गलत कर रही है, हर एक बार as you leave the time, it becomes more and more robust. As the time matures, as the time progresses, response of autoimmune disease becomes lesser and lesser, and you need more intense treatment which is required. इसीलिए तो now it's become a part of any of the autoimmune disease campaign. Early detection makes a big difference to the patients. क्योंकि we have experienced in rheumatoid arthritis, hopefully in scleroderma we should get a time जहाँ if we introduce these treatment early in the course of the disease process can be reversed, or you can halt the disease process to a greater extent. इसीलिए emphasis is on the early diagnosis. Basic reason is, as I said, leave the disease to progress for a longer time. Chance of disease becoming more and more robust is high and less responsive. So इसीलिए critical point ये होता है, why we are asking for all this public awareness, pushing for public awareness, spending some money and time for hospital. Half the doctors are sitting here and they don't time to spare with the patients. In addition, we are spending time on these kind of activities basically so that if I pick the patients early in the course of the disease, it is more rewarding to us as well as to you. Okay? We can tell the patients that I am doing good for you and he is also going to have very good.
Where they are mostly from, something to give us additional insights.
We have different groups. I am particularly dealing with scleroderma. So we have more than 1,000 patients, and some of these patients are coming for more than 10 to 15 years on follow-up. Some of course are improved and others are not doing so well. So we have a mixed bag. But we do follow them up. We have a WhatsApp group and we also have a website which is functional, and we are quite cohesive, and patients do come whenever we have an yearly feature. We do a scleroderma patient awareness program every year, but due to COVID the last 3-4 years we were not able to do. So this time we've invited Dr. Chandrasekhar. He's from Bangalore and he will be talking about how to, I would like to request Dr. Chandrasekhar to say.
I will be focusing more on the how to handle when you have a long-term diseases like this. So that, see, something what happens is, though we have a good line of treatment that has come in the last 2-3 decades, lot have changed in the last 2 decades when it comes to the treatment of these autoimmune disease, including scleroderma. What we used to be very desperate 4 decades back, where we were saying that nothing more I can offer you since you are suffering from this disease, you have to just symptomatically we help you out. I think you might have seen them presenting new ways and means of reducing the impact, reducing the problems that can happen with scleroderma. In addition to that, actually, as a patient, they need to cope with this particular problem. So I will be mainly dealing about how to cope with it, what are the philosophy with which we have to work, and how to see the life when you have these kind of diseases. So those are the main focus I will be. I think in the panel discussion they will be dealing and talking about the specifics with reference to disease and treatment.
Malocclusions are there because of the increased fibrosis. There is a lot of dental malocclusion. So we do send them to the dentist as much as is possible. Plus we hike up the immunosuppression. So both these things help.
even Indian Rheumatology Association is also taking up these issues. I think we organize April month as the Rheumatology Disease Awareness Program. And this Neurodermal Month is an international program which is organized across the globe. And similarly, we have different programs for these little unusual but a disease which now can be fairly well managed. But key to the good management, I think it was made very clear, early diagnosis. As you said, the barrier of an early diagnosis starts from the patient, then the primary care doctor, then the next level is in the accessibility of the specialists. We are trying to work from our side as a group of rheumatologists as well as the institutions. For instance, the institutes are increasing their training facilities. So we have more rheumatologists being trained across India. So those are all the measures which we are working as a group. I think we need a lot of support from the media because that's one of the
Patient's perspective, when we talk with reference to the awareness, first thing is the message has to be out that what are the things, what are the symptoms when the patient should seek help. Actually, making a diagnosis is not very difficult. Sometimes you've seen one patient who's lived my entire life, but there is a thick, hide-bound skin, and then there are ulcerations and all. The diagnosis is not very difficult, but what is most important is how to assess them at the baseline. What kind of involvement do they have, like the lung involvement or the pulmonary arterial hypertension. These are the two key things which take the life away. So that's something which is imminently life-threatening over a period of time when you assess it. So then you have to look at the behavior, whether the lung disease is progressing rapidly or is static and all that. How much immunosuppression has to be given, when it has to be given. Because every time you have to weigh the risk versus benefit. Some patient may not progress at all throughout their life, whereas a subset might have a end-stage lung disease in a few years. So that comes with training. So basically, starting off from the patient seeking, having a good health seeking behavior, reaching a doctor, then awareness amongst the doctors. If the patient comes, what all needs to be screened and what all needs to be done. So baseline lung screening, pulmonary function test, and echo is very important. And then you have to have various parameters, but I think at least a yearly looking at that, and then keeping the patient on follow-up and treating appropriately. So there are different stages, and then capacity building and all that. All those things need to be done.
Depends on how severe is the problem. Mostly, it does take. But if you're, but if the patient has severe pulmonary arterial hypertension, then the drugs are expensive. So then we have requested the pharmaceutical company to give some special price, so they will give them some. But I don't really know that whether they continue to give it for a long time.
I think one of the major drawbacks of this decision, I think people have to highlight is that insurance is a third party coverage. The moment you write a name, you determine their diagnosis. Most of the insurance companies shakes their hands off to say that we don't cover it. Unfortunately, that's not the correct way of handling these kind of things, because when we are trying to work on a rare disease, some of the diseases which where the timeline is written, we cover those diseases, but this here the patient simply survives more than 10-15 years, and if you really take the treatment, they can really have a good quality of life. Sometimes I have, though it is a little serious issue, but I have put it across to certain people. See, the lymphoma, where we use the same corticotoxin. In lymphoma, we lose if the patient is detected little later. With a 60% certainty, we lose the patient. Whereas in a disease like scleroderma, losing the patient is not an issue. It's really going to make a good life for next 10 to 15 years. Unfortunately, insurance declines for these patients, and it is ready and willing to cover it to other patients. If you look from the perspective, of course, this also is life. This patient is also life. But if you look from the perspective of what is the long better investment, it would have been nice if they would have approved for this. I would like both the conditions to be approved. I mean, in a sense, it's just a comparison. We are just trying to make you understand that how sometimes the policies are ridiculously not on the right directions. It happens for many reasons, because in earlier days, I don't understand, 2 decades back, treatment of scleroderma, treatment for instance, any of the a good disease, including a simple disease like rheumatoid arthritis. We were unclear. We were not sure what is the best way to handle. In the last 2 decades, with the invent of biologics, with the invent of newer group of drugs, the way these people can live is significantly different. But policy in India still remains the same. Western world covers all these diseases in their insurance. Whereas in India, still I don't know, the government has not woken up. We have repeatedly putting this one Indian Rheumatology Association, please cover these diseases under insurance, as well as from the third party payments, including some of the government schemes. They are not really covered, and we really struggle sometimes. That's what Professor Shifali was saying. We request the pharma companies to support us. I mean, that's not the way we have to do it. It's a government which has to support the patients. As a doctor, we are taking the responsibility so that the patients get the best benefit of the available treatment. I mean, this is some way your interventions can really make a big difference to the patient and also make our job. Rather than going behind those pharma companies, please lend something to them.
सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट जो सिम्टम इसमें है वो होता है कि रेनॉल्ड्स फिनोमेना, जिसमें कि उंगलियां नीली होनी शुरू हो जाती हैं। सो ज़्यादातर ये यंग फीमेल्स में होती है, बट रेनॉल्ड्स फिनोमेना एज सच सबको जिनको रेनॉल्ड्स फिनोमेना है वो स्क्लेरोडर्मा नहीं होता। देयर इज एन एंटिटी कॉल्ड प्राइमरी रेनॉल्ड्स, जो कि यंग फीमेल्स में वैसे बहुत कॉमन होता है। बट अगर रेनॉल्ड्स फिनोमेना के साथ, रेनॉल्ड्स फिनोमेना मीन्स जब भी ठंड होती है, यहाँ से कूलर या एसीज में जाएंगे तो उंगलियां नीली होनी शुरू हो जाएंगी। उसके बाद फिर स्किन जो है उंगलियों की वो थिक होनी शुरू हो जाती है, हाइट बाउंड, जैसे चमड़ी जो है सख्त हो जाती है। देयर आर डिफरेंट स्टेजेस, बट इन लेमैन्स लैंग्वेज दैट्स व्हाट हैपेंस। फिर उसके बाद उंगलियों के ऊपर यहाँ जख्म होने लग जाते हैं। इसके अलावा अगर ये मेन सिम्टम्स हैं, इसके अलावा फेस की स्किन स्ट्रेच होने लग जाएगी, बाकी शरीर की स्किन स्ट्रेच होने लग जाएगी। उसके साथ अगर खांसी आनी शुरू हो गई तो लंग की इन्वॉल्वमेंट हो सकती है, हार्ट की इन्वॉल्वमेंट हो सकती है, खट्टे डकार आते हैं, मुंह में कड़वा पानी आ जाता है, रिफ्लक्स होना शुरू हो जाता है। तो ये कुछ चीज़ें जो हैं वो लंग डिजीज़ में भी डिस्पोज करती हैं या उसको भी करती हैं। सो इसमें काफ़ी काम चल रहा है, जैसे आपने देखा, हमें पहले भी कुछ स्टडीज हुई हैं यहाँ से भी, बाकी मल्टी सेंटर से भी। सो काम वर्क इज़ इन प्रोग्रेस। आई थिंक लाइफ काफ़ी बदली है, अवेयरनेस इज़ द की। अगर जल्दी आएंगे और